But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty and Big Bri.
What's going on, everybody? We are back here live, and we are back with Big Bri. What's going on, big fella?
Hang on.
Oh, of course you would. I figured when you were going to start rubbing it in, you just do it right in the open credits. That's nice.
I mean, I've been living on cloud nine for the last 10, 12 days now.
I know. I'm sitting there. I even asked you, I'm like, how bad is this going to hurt me tonight? Am I going to cry? And you said, it'll only make you stronger.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's thickened my skin over the last 20 years now. So it's about time to get a little payback.
All right. Well, welcome on into Illegal Ham in the Face. I am Fatty. He is Big Bri. We got a great episode for you tonight. We'll get through the rundown here. We're going to talk past two games of the Cleveland Browns. We're obviously going to talk the game and the football playoff coming up. We're going to get into Fat Boy Tuesday, where we are talking must-have holiday foods. And then we're going to round out the night with our top 3 favorite holiday movies. We're in holiday season, bud, and it's holiday mode, so figured throw all that stuff in there. We do have some new headlines tonight, including your Guardians and your Cavaliers. And other than that, man, it's just a normal show like always. It's a pleasure to see you again, Bri. I haven't seen you in, 3 weeks? Apologize for last week with being sick.
Crazy.
I couldn't really help it, and we had our phone blowing up. Everybody was asking me. I had James and Justin, and everybody kind of like, is everything okay? It's like, not really. So that's where we're at now. We got some new stuff for you tonight. Let's do one thing first right out of the gate, Brian. We got a new background we got to don because been working hard on it. So here we go with the new background. Boom. Welcome to Legal Ham to the Face. Right there it is. You'll be seeing this behind us from here on out. We do have a huge announcement next week, but we also got an announcement tonight. And I'm going to let Bri take that over. Bri, do you have an announcement for the
if any of us or any of the people watching are fans of or friends of you or me over social media? I guess the cat's out of the bag, so there will be another little Browns fan in the universe, courtesy of my wife and I, and we know it's a little girl. Hopefully it's a Michigan fan too. She claims it might be an Ohio State fan, but we'll settle that later. So yeah, so coming in, boy, let's see how many months. I can't do the math right now. End of May is the due date. So we are both very excited. We got finished telling all of the family members Thanksgiving time. So yeah, we're pumped. I don't know. I don't know how much of my life is going to change. So far, I kind of joke with everybody. It's been fine for me. I've been coasting through it. No big deal at all.
Of course. Now, hold on. How bad's the morning sickness? She got the morning sickness?
Oh, it comes and goes. It's kind of the all day sickness some days. So yeah, some days it's nausea, some days it's headache, some days it's lightheadedness. You don't know what kind of stuff it's going to bring, but yeah, try to do what I can, which isn't much, but that's all I got.
So it is going to be a girl, though.
It'll be a girl. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just one.
Just that's why I keep joking with her. I said, hey, let's just get 2 out of the way real quick and we'll be done with it. You'll never have to go through this again. But yeah, she kind of gives me the stink eye every time I bring up 2. So I stopped doing that a while ago.
Justice said it is probably a sickness from being married to a scum fan. It's understandable. I mean, I get that
Well,
notion.
see, you never. I tell her, hey,
But
come
the
on
bad
over.
thing is,
Come on over to the dark side. It's a lot more fun over on this side than talking about transfer portal and coaches being fired. That just wears you out.
well, hey, you've been there. I mean, you've had the coaches being fired in the transfer portals and all that. I get it. It's our turn now. I get it. I'll take the lumps that we got. We played scared and we got our ass kicked. I get it. I'll just sit here and take it. That entire game,
Well,
I knew when it was 4th and 2 and Ryan Day didn't go for it after a couple big plays. I knew right then we were losing that game. I'm like, you're playing too soft, too conservative, and guess what? It's going to bite you in the ass, and it ended up biting them in the ass.
I will. I'm going to hold back my wrath until we get to that segment. So up until then, we'll be very friendly.
Oh, great. I love being friendly with Brian. This is awesome. Our show is always brought to you by Harold Kheel and Lake Erie APA and City Dogs Cleveland. Can't wait to have fun with them here later on. We're going to do another melt for dogs later on next year for a Browns game. We haven't figured out what the date is. James is here. What's going on, James?
Hey, James.
But other than that, let's get into our show, Brian. I mean, it's been way too long.
You got any shout outs?
Not really, dude. It's been a roller coaster of, a lot of stuff. Like I said, we'll save the one big announcement for next week. But other than that, I've been kind of low key and just thank God for NyQuil. Shout out to NyQuil. Great medicine and remedy. Other than that, that's all I got, bud.
Well, let me. We had a celebratory shout out. Let me give you, maybe one that's a little bit sadder. And I've shouted my wife's grandfather out a couple times on this show because he is a veteran of the World War II of the Naval Academy. And we just celebrated in February his 100th birthday. And so unfortunately he lost his life last week, and sad anytime somebody goes, but he's been ready for a while. So it's a blessing for him. He was a very faith-based man. And it's something he's been waiting for. And shoot, if we could all live 100 years and live the life he lived and live at home, and up until a couple weeks ago, he was still getting around with just a walker and able to do everything that he used to. So it was kind of, we had the funeral was yesterday, and it was like a celebration of life, more or less, because it was a great life lived. I was fighting back the tears because they had the 21 gun salute and playing of taps and stuff like that. So that gets pretty emotional for anybody who lives in this great country. But first time I've really experienced that. But yeah, he lived a great life. He was a great man, and he will continue to inspire so many people with the way he lived. So unfortunately, sorry to bring the show down, but I felt like I had to get that out there.
No. And I'm glad you did, because not that I didn't forget about it. It just blanked my mind for a second because we talked about it beforehand, and, living to 100 years old, I mean, that's unbelievable. And like you said, the stories that you have, I know you and Ashley were very close to him. You guys went down and played cards with them all the time, dinners and everything. So I know I sent prayers out to you and your family. Just wishing, you guys the best and helping get through this time. I know being 100, you're definitely kind of ready for it and being done with it, but you never want to leave loved ones behind, especially ones that love you back that much. So, and especially a World War II vet, which is unreal. There's not many of them anymore.
No, unfortunately, he was a proud American. He would always, even up until, the last few weeks, whenever I was there, he would be telling me stories of the war and what he saw, and he would tell me over and over and over again. So he was a very proud member of the military of the Naval Academy, and surely will be missed. Huge family, 9 kids, 30, maybe 40 some grandkids, a ton of great grandkids. When you live to be 100, you got to figure there's going to be a few of those. So So yeah, so surely he was loved and he knew it.
Were you guys able to tell him about the announcement?
We did, but it was kind of, probably when he started to, spend a lot of time in bed, and hopefully he grasped what was going on. But yeah, we told him, and he was still able to open his eyes and smile, and he went down singing, praying, yeah. So kind of how we all, if we could write our own ending, that's kind of how we all hopefully try to do it.
And like James said, prayers to your family, Bri.
Thank you, James.
Justice said, sorry to hear that. Grandfather was a W-2 vet too.
Wow.
What do you say? Every time I'm at the store and I see somebody wearing a military branch and hat, I thank them for their services. Brian and I do that too.
Absolutely.
I got to see my little brother Patty Pat, who was in the Army. I'm glad I got to see him over the holidays a little bit, and I miss him. So I mean, it's we're at that time of year where holidays and family are important, but you don't want to lose a family member during the holidays because it just makes you think, and just not bad things, just happy thoughts, and just getting everybody together so you can see them one last time, or however you guys do it. So so Bri,
my apologies for bringing the show down.
No, Bri,
we'll get it out.
No apologies, buddy. I mean, that's definitely something that we have to shout out, because we do support our troops and first responders, and for that World War II vet and everything he did for us to be where we are now, can't thank him enough, and can't thank your family enough for his service and his sacrifice for us.
Yep, lived an incredible life. So yep. So surely he's smiling down, and he was a big Guardians fan too, Guardians Indians. So maybe something special is in the making for them. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, I mean, why don't we just go ahead and announce it now if he was a huge Guardians fan, because we don't have to wait till that. A little Cleveland headline news coming up right now. The Cleveland Guardians had a 2% chance to get the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft in 2024. And guess what? They got it, Bri. They ended up with the number 1 overall pick. Like I said, a 2% chance to get it. And the Brad Paisley's the one that pulled the card out.
Get out of here.
Swear. It was, I was
Sweet.
like, yep. Well, that's fitting right there. Brad Paisley put it out there. So that's some great news coming up. Chris is here. What is going on, Chris?
What's up, Chris?
All right, Brian, let's dive into our show here. Let's have some fun. Let's see. I got to find blah, 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 blah. We did shout outs. We'll do trivia. Oh, we got to do trivia now, right?
You got it.
All right. Well, let me play the trivia sounder, and we will go from there. And our trivia is always brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland. We do not have a new pup, but we have an old pup on here. We had Cole the last time we were on here, Bri. Take a look at Cole. He is adoptable and available at City Dogs Cleveland. I will have the ticker running here down at the bottom of how you can get a hold of them. Please get a hold of City Dogs. Adopt any dog you can. I know their kennels are getting full. Like I said, this beautiful pup is Cole. He is definitely a joy. Can't wait for City Dogs to get some of those kennels clear, Bri. It's the holidays. If you're going to, get a dog, please adopt a dog. Like I said, Brian and I both have adopted dogs. And City Dogs has always got great pups there, and they got great volunteers and great people that work for them. So please go get your dog from City Dogs of Cleveland. Great people there, and a great spot. And like I said, their kennels were full last time. They ran a $21 special. They might be doing it again here before the holiday or before Christmas. So just check it out. Go out to their, go online at City Dogs Cleveland. Check out the pups online. Schedule an appointment to go meet a pup. And hopefully you can adopt one and take one home. And if you can't, please donate to them. Food, anything of that nature. They take anything that can help them out. I know Legal Ham Plus, Lily's Lemonade has donated a lot to them and helped them out with food and money and everything else. So help us support them. We would greatly appreciate that. All right, Bri, it's trivia. It is your turn. It's been 3 weeks. I have a feeling it might be Ohio State, Michigan trivia.
I took it easy on you. I'm not going to do that. I thought about it, though. How many days has it been since Ohio State beat Michigan? But to be honest, I didn't put in the work and I didn't do the counting. So, so we'll let that slide, hopefully, till next year's trivia. But this one goes back to NFL, and I just saw this on Sunday because I think it just happened on Sunday. So this surprised me, this trivia. So it goes back to another NFL receivers trivia, and goes back to another Jerry Rice is the best receiver of all time, and then this trivia reflects it. Jerry Rice has 14 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and there's an active receiver that just became tied for number 2. So active receiver has 10 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Name that receiver.
10 consecutive.
Doesn't have to be consecutive. No,
doesn't have to be consecutive.
Nope. I mean, because Jerry Rice, I don't know. He was in the league for like 20 years. So, but asking that question makes me think you got an answer for me.
I got a couple.
Because I think this guy has done it consecutively.
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah. So that's what, and maybe you saw the same thing I did, but I don't know, because I saw it on the Red Zone channel. I don't know if you watch Red Zone.
I do not know that Red Zone channel. Chris said he knows that guy. He's on my team. Jocelyn, my sister, said take the hat off. Mom is here. Mom said hello. What's going on, Mom? Mom is down sick now, so it's got the sickness has kind of hit everybody in the Bates family. So can't take that off. And Chris's fantasy team, by the way, did you see Chris's fantasy team go off this week? They had like 210 points.
My goodness.
I mean, it's great.
He got Deebo Samuel and
I think he slapped around the Portage County prostitutes, but I'm not sure.
I don't feel like talking much fantasy. I've had a rough go of it the last 2 weeks. Big man beat me on like the last play of Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. DJ Moore got like a 30-yard reception. Lost 2 leagues because of that one reception. Lost in 2 leagues and out of the playoffs. Last week, Craig, I think, beat me by less than a point. So, and I'm on the outside looking in right now on the playoffs.
While we're talking about the illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League, why don't we just get it out of the way right now, Brian, with our updates? Because I didn't do it last time we were on because we had Casey on and everything else. We've had a couple weeks in between. So let's just run down this week's score. And let's start out with where it is. Yep. Team Expanding beat the Portage County Prostitutes 210.5 to 121.46.
Wow.
Next year, beat up on Honky Cat 115 to 102. Kheel beat Team Big Meat 164 to 35. I think somebody's checked out on that.
Yeah, probably out of the playoffs.
Phil McCracken beat Hot Dog is a Taco, Say It Loud 157 to 138. Elijah Moorhead beat Team Big Rod 148-103. And that is and we have Dog Pound Boys, Craig Foster, 102 to 101.2. Jeez, that hurts.
It was a rough one.
Right now, we do have to say, right now, eliminated from the illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League. Right now, no playoffs for these people. Portage County Prostitutes did not make the playoffs this year. Dog Pound Boys did not make the playoffs this year. Team Big Rod did not make the playoffs this year. Hot Dog is a Taco did not make the playoffs this year. And Team Big Meat did not make the playoffs this year. We have 1 week left, Bri. This is our last week.
I need a win. Win.
And here we go. Locked in. Phil McCracken and Harold Kheel have locked their spots in. And then you have 5 people fighting for 4 spots, Bri.
Wow, that's fun.
All right, you got Team Expanding at 8-5. Always Next Year at 8-5. Elijah Moorhead at 8-5. And Honky Cat 8-5. And Big Bri's at 7-6.
Got to get a win.
So there is your legal ham to the face fantasy football update. All right. Best week I've had all year, and I still take the L. Yep. That sounds about right, Justin.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's what makes fantasy football such a beast sometimes.
All right, Brian. Well, let's get in. Since Chris is here and everybody else is here, let's do our fun video that we love, the sounder that makes everybody get excited. All right, we already got one of them out of the gate. Your Cleveland Guardians got the first overall pick in the 2024 draft. Your Cleveland Cavaliers are hovering around 500, and there's talks about firing JB Bickerstaff or getting rid of Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. It's not been a good look right now. They've lost a couple games they should have won. Hopefully they had a closed-door meeting and they can get their heads out of their asses and actually play some good basketball, but it's kind of back and forth with them. On the other note, Bri, since the last time we have talked, Deshaun Watson used to be our starting quarterback. He is injured now, shoulder surgery, sitting on the bench in the booth, and people are bitching because he was not on the sidelines. How about that, Bri? How would you feel that your quarterback wasn't on the sidelines with your team in an away game in LA?
I mean, he was on the sidelines for Pittsburgh and all the other times he was hurt, and nobody brought it up at all. When I didn't hear one person say, "Oh, it was nice to see Deshaun on the sidelines." As soon as he goes up in the booth, and then you bookend that with, "Well, Joe Burrow's on the sidelines." Hey, it's people who hate Deshaun Watson trying to find reasons to hate further on Deshaun Watson. If you hate Deshaun Watson, man, go root for another team, man. We don't need you. We don't need Browns fans trying to bring down the Browns. So if you hate on Deshaun Watson and you call yourself a Browns fan, take a couple-year break or however long he's going to be the quarterback here, because it brings the rest of us down that are trying to stay positive and be excited about the future. So if you're one of those people, I don't need to tell you to get a life. You probably already know that, find a woman, find a hobby, something like that. But I saw the memes going around, and it's like, I don't know. He must really dislike Deshaun Watson, which is, everyone's prerogative. But whatever. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, what's the best part is I believe it came out today with Mary Kay Cabot that the Browns bought that suite for him and Nick Chubb and everybody else that is injured to stay up there. Also, it came out this morning with John Greco on the Ken Carman show with Anthony Lima that if you are on injured reserve, you kind of don't have to be on the sidelines. That was a rule they had beforehand. It's up to the coaching staff. He didn't know if that was still the rule or not. But Nick Chubb was down on the field, but did you see him on the sidelines? I didn't see him on the sidelines. He was up in the booth too.
I saw him in a suite going back to the Pittsburgh game, which was fantastic. I mean, that place was electric when he came out, and then they showed him on the Jumbotron sitting up in a suite. And yeah, again, nobody said anything. Why is Nick Chubb not down on the field? And I mean, just think about it logically. Like, okay, if it was DTR, maybe he could add a little something for DTR and help him out maybe a little bit. Just assuming, I don't really know for sure, but what's he going to tell Joe Flacco that Joe Flacco's never seen and try to help him out? So, like, what could he really do down on the sideline? But because Joe Burrow's that good soldier and, this and that, it's just, again, it goes back to, if you don't like Deshaun Watson, you're going to find every single reason to not like Deshaun Watson. So,
oh, yeah, it always happens that way, bud.
Yeah, I say get a life. or find a different hobby. Find a different team, find a different hobby. Otherwise, you're just taking up space, taking up airtime in Cleveland sports radio.
Well, Justin said Flacco would tell him to take a massage break.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Oh, I got to finish it.
And here's Here's Casey said that was my first one too. Watson isn't going to tell a 38-year-old Flacco a damn thing. Yeah, it's like he's sitting there. Flacco's just looking at him, going, "Hold my beer." Yeah,
Right. Oh, but Flacco's like 1 billion years old, and as far as NFL years go, and he's seen it all. So what the heck's Deshaun Watson going to tell us?
So, Brian, you brought up Flacco. Everybody last week knew that we signed him. We didn't know if he was going to start. DTR got a concussion. Flacco got to start. Flacco comes out and looks a lot better than the quarterbacks we've had here for a little bit. I can't, and Casey said he has like 100 more starts than Watson.
Right.
Well, we got to get back to Denver. We missed that game. DTR started, I believe was he concussed then? He got injured then. PJ Walker came in for a little bit. Oh, It was that one. Because, we got the cheap hit there at the end with the helmet to helmet, and everybody was trying to say, oh, that was a good hit. No, that guy went high and caught him underneath the chin. I don't know any man that bleeds from the mouth to be hit in the chest.
It's and to not be a conspiracy theory guy, but who was the head coach during Bountygate?
Oh,
Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to their other safety? Their starting safety suspended for 4 games for having dirty hits, and now this guy comes and he just happens to go high. And if you watch the replay, DTR even jumped to get even a little bit higher, and the guy still came up and hit him underneath the chin.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that can be a coincidence for all those things to be happening. I mean, I'm not saying that Sean Payton is telling his guys go out there and try to give the other quarterback a concussion, but he's certainly, Monday morning not running replay like you can't be hitting like this and make it a point of emphasis, because really it benefited them. Okay, they got a 15-yard penalty, but they got a quarterback out of there. And personally, I think DTR was just starting to play pretty well. I think Stefanski kind of pulled the reins off him just a little bit. It was hard. That Pittsburgh game, that first quarter against Denver, it was hard to watch. Stefanski was ultra conservative in his passing game because he didn't want to turn the ball over. So here we have guys running 5-yard outs, 5-yard curls. And so the defense just has to sit on those routes because they know you're not throwing it deep. So they just sit on those routes in they either bat it down or get a chance to pick it off. And it's just like, we're just doing this because we're so afraid to turn the ball over. And finally, we were down 14-0. And that's when DTR started looking better because he took the reins off him. He let him throw down the field a little bit. And I mean, we'll get to the Rams game. He kind of got a little too happy throwing down the field this past week, if you ask me. But yeah, DTR started to look good, and I started to feel good in him. And then he gets hurt, and you're still in that game. He had the ball with a chance to go take the lead, and then PJ Walker came in, and I've never seen it more clear to me that a quarterback has zero confidence in a quarterback than Kevin Stefanski has in PJ Walker. And that's why he's run those stupid reverses, and we're fumbling the ball because he does not trust PJ Walker to throw it 5 yards. And I mean, I kind of blame Stefanski for that a little bit because, or a lot of it, because PJ Walker has won you games. And I know he's turned the ball over a bunch, but again, Stefanski was very afraid. In that they should have just run it more because they were having success running the ball. But yeah, it was hard to watch PJ Walker out there just because you knew Stefanski. He had very little hope in the offense there, and he's just trying to manufacture offense any way he can without having his quarterback throw the ball.
Yeah, and it was, they should have stuck to the run game a little bit more. I mean, he started getting pass happy like he did this game because they didn't rush for anything. The Rams game, it was, crazy. But, I mean, you had rushing. You had Jerome Ford only had 9 carries for 65 yards. He was averaging 7 yards a rush. I don't know what else. Even Robinson breaking free and doing a couple runs was averaging 4.2. Kareem Hunt, it was averaging 3 yards a carry. Guess what? When you're banged up like this, your offensive line is banged up. You have a rookie quarterback. Guess what? 3 yards in a cloud of dust, brother. I don't care what it takes. 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. Guess what? Get close to a first down. That's all you got to do in these games. Give your defense a breather. The defense has not been good for these past couple of away games. Plus, Bri, Myles Garrett got hurt. One guy that we could not afford to get hurt on this defense, and he got hurt, and it was glaring against the Rams. Shoulder injury again. They said nothing too serious, but he is definitely sore. We've heard this before with Deshaun Watson. Hopefully he doesn't have to quit and do off-season surgery, because maybe next week it might be a broken shoulder. Next week it might be just a dislocated collarbone. The week after that, it might be something else. You never know with this Browns wonderful medical staff. But we'll figure it out. What are you doing over there?
Sorry, I have Ashley's phone.
Oh,
I told her I would bring it back down to her, and I forgot.
Oh, that's all right. Tell her we said hi. Congratulations. She already left, didn't she?
She gone.
She gone. All right.
She didn't even bring me a beer either. I could use one.
What the heck? Well, you can't text her. I'll text her for you, so that you
tell her they're in the garage.
Tell her that they're in the garage. What do you got over there?
Still I got the Costco special. We went to Costco a couple weeks ago and ended up getting the Busch Light, and I still got the hkeehl variety pack. So
nice.
Still working on those guys. Hopefully for a couple more weeks to last.
God, I hope so, because hkeehl was really good, Bri.
This is the Sunset Wheat. It's not bad.
I have no clue who's calling me right now. Also, Denzel Ward's been out for the past couple games, Bri.
Right.
And that's been a glaring thing, too. What do we have? Ford was out there, got burned a couple times by, Bri. It's Puka Nagaku, right?
Nakua. Puka Nakua.
I kept saying Akuna Matata because I didn't know how to pronounce his name. And people started getting mad at me. And then I started saying other names, and it wasn't even close because I could not even figure that. Who really out of nowhere, this guy has 200 yards against us, and we can't cover this guy of all guys. They got Cooper Kupp and everybody else, and we can't cover this guy.
You might as well call him Tyreek Hill because she did bring me beers. Thank you. Did you really text her? Sure. I got 2 beers now.
Look at that.
Did you really text her?
No, I didn't.
Or she probably just, oh yeah. She heard me bitching.
Oh boy, look. Hey,
that never happens.
That's wife of the year material right there. You better get her a dozen roses. I mean, you already got her pregnant, Bri. You better rubbing feet.
I know.
Whatever you got to do, buddy.
I've been rubbing heads. I've been curing the headaches a little bit as best I can, but
midnight
yeah, I guess I'll have to
grocery store.
Oh yeah, I'll have to work a little overtime tonight.
You are the ice cream man. How many pints of ice cream have dropped off the truck?
We've been trying to be better, but yeah, there's definitely a smorgasbord of probably 5 or 6 different flavors down there. So I can't say I've been doing a bad job there.
Let's see here. Casey asked, "What hkeehl is the best out of the variety pack?"
Shoot, that's a good question. Because it's wintertime. I've been going more towards the Bach. I forget the name of it. It's some sort of Bach. But there's also the Sunset Wheat. There's a peach one. It's kind of like a summer variety pack, I think. I can't remember the 4th kind. There's 4 different kinds. So you got peach, the wheat, and the Bach. And I think the Bach's all gone. It's that time of year. Drinking dark beer, drinking heavy beer, put you to bed.
Well, yeah. Didn't they have the summer shandy and the grapefruit?
They make summer shandy. They make grapefruit, but neither one of those is in the pack. And I'm trying to remember what the 4th kind was. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Chris chimed in and said, "I want what Nagaku got at the halftime, and Nakua or whatever the heck got at halftime in the locker room. Dude could barely move and then start running everywhere."
It reminded me of Paul Pierce when he left on the wheelchair. This guy leaves crying, can't move the right side of his body, and then he runs back out there and he's fine. And I'm like, my wife actually got mad at me because I didn't celebrate when he got hurt, but I was like, because I was going against him in fantasy too, and I really needed a big win. So I kind of like, thank you. Thankfully, he has to leave the game. He's not going to kill us because we made him look like Tyreek Hill out there. He looked like the best receiver in the league. If he could play us every single week, he would be Offensive Player of the Year with those end arounds and burning our guys deep. And we definitely missed Denzel Ward. I even noticed missing him in the run game too, because Newsome, even Emerson, they're just not cutting it. And going back to the Denver game, Newsome got burnt. Man-to-man, got burnt by a 6'4", like semi, kind of, not really that fast receiver. And he just got burned, and it looked like he gave up a couple times on some of these crossing routes. And it was sad. It was kind of pathetic. So what I've noticed is, and there's hope, I guess, for this week, our defense is average on the road, but we are elite at home. And I don't know if we're average because the injuries have just caught up to us, but there's definitely a huge difference between, if you go look at the numbers, and I meant to come up with these stats, and again, just time got away from me, but I guarantee we're giving up probably maybe around 10 points at home, maybe less than that, maybe 7. Something around there, and on the road it balloons up to 25, 30 maybe. So and it's not like we're playing great quarterbacks on the road for it to make sense like that. It's just they got to get it together, man.
Yeah, and it's I don't know what it is about the road, but this game you could definitely tell that there was a Myles Garrett miss right there. They weren't afraid of Myles Garrett. He was not in any shape. He shouldn't have been out there. I would have sat him out, knowing that shoulder injury, try to get him healthy for the push later on. But we've had offsides calls. What was the bullshit call in the center for moving the football a little bit? I mean, that was what,
second straight week.
And I'm just sitting there going like, are you kidding me right now? And of course,
such a ticky-tack foul.
And the Bri, this is why I named the show this week. Is it too much to overcome? I mean, let's be honest and think about this. We're on our 4th quarterback, Bri. We lost our starting running back. We don't have our starting left tackle. We don't have our starting right tackle. Our other right tackle that is a rookie is playing on one leg and one arm right now. You have your star wide receiver now out with concussion. You have your star cornerback out now for I don't know how long. Myles Garrett is hurt and banged up. I mean, injuries have finally caught up with the Cleveland Browns, and it's rough. I mean, they're still in games. They're still playing. And God, yes, there's some play calls that Kevin Stefanski has that everybody fucking hates. And I get that. But look what he's dealing with right now. He is 7-5 with Joe Flacco, backup running backs. Obviously the wide receivers who can't catch the damn ball, which we've seen the past 2 weeks.
Terrible.
You know what I'm saying? And an offensive line that is kind of pieced together right now. The only thing that's saving that offensive line are the 3 right in the middle. It's unreal what this team has gone through, and we're still right there, Bri. We're still there. We still got a chance. We're still playing tough. Like, you look at the scores for the Denver and the LA game, Bri, we were right in that game up until the end, until they took over right at the end. We were in those games. So it's not like we're, just laying down and like they're just beating us. Every game is competitive all the way up until the end. And it's not, sometimes it might be a coaching gaffe with a play call, but some of the times it's a drop pass on 3rd down and 9 that you could have got a first down of. Sometimes it's that, the penalty for the center moving the damn ball. It is crazy how this has happened, and yet they are still in the playoff hunt. And I'm just curious. I mean, is it too much to overcome now? I mean, we're here at this point where we got 5 games left, I think it is, Bri?
Mm-hmm.
We got 5 games left. We got 3 at home, I believe, 2 away. Can we overcome all this adversity, all these injuries, everything else to just get into the playoffs and see what we can do in there with this elite defense?
Yeah, well, elite if it's at home, which if it's going to be at home, we got to pretty much win the division. So I don't know how that's going to go, but yeah, I think you still have a chance. It's not too much right now, and a lot of the reason, maybe not a lot of the reason, but other teams are dealing with injury too. You go look at the other teams in the AFC. How many of them? I think it's more than half are missing their starting quarterback. And now we got Trevor Lawrence might not play this week.
You got 3 in the AFC North, Bri.
Who'd have thunk that we have 5 games left looking at our schedule before the season started? Who would have ever guessed that we would have said the Houston Texans is going to be our toughest game remaining? But I mean, that's the truth, because you're probably not going to have to go against Trevor Lawrence. You're probably not going to have to go against Aaron Rodgers. You're definitely not going to have to go against Joe Burrow. And then we have the Bears as well in there. So there's some, I'd say, I mean, I think all 5 games are winnable. But your margin for error is, razor thin in some of these games. And it was in the Denver game and it was in the LA game. And you were in that game until what? Until you had that costly turnover. And then, at that point, the game's over. And this past week, it was Joe Flacco. It's just mind-blowing to me that our game plan, and maybe it was just Flacco going rogue and Flacco's throwing up YOLO balls all over the place and just chucking it deep and doing his own thing. But, I made a joke in one of the text chains that I'm in that giving Joe Flacco to Kevin Stefanski is like giving an addict a bunch of cocaine, because Kevin Stefanski wants to throw the ball, and Joe Flacco still has an unbelievable arm, and so he's just going to be looking to air it out left and right. And I called him Uncle Rico, because he's just like, I bet I can throw the ball over the mountains over there. You want to see? Okay. And it was just a matter of time before that's going to catch up with you, and it did. I think Ken Carman called it an arm punt, and I mean, I couldn't quote any other way than that. But the problem is, it was on first down. It was 1st and 10. You just got the ball back. You're down 1 point, and it's 1st and 10, and you're throwing a ball like that. It's unacceptable. And I think Flacco took blame for it, to his credit. But he's a veteran. He can't. With these receivers. I blame Andrew Berry a bit for trading away DPJ. I know he's not great. I got the Michigan hat on, so you're going to think I'm going to stand up for DPJ, but we have Amari Cooper, and we don't have a whole lot else. And the only other proven receiver that has done anything in the NFL that we had was DPJ. And he hasn't been great, but he's been better than any other guy we have, because the other guys just have potential. And now that Amari Cooper's out, what the heck do we have as our receiving core? We have a tight end who has a case of the dropsies right now. And, we have a bunch of unproven wide receivers. And so even with Joe Flacco's arm talent, it's going to be hard for them to get this passing game going, because, we don't have any proven commodities. Joe Flacco's 39 years old. There's a reason he wasn't on another team, even though he's thrown some very nice balls. Yeah, they're going to have to get this offense figured out, because we can't just be, hey, we got Joe Flacco, let's just chuck it deep a bunch of times. And I don't even know if I think they threw the ball further. I think I heard a stat today. They threw the ball further than 10 yards for the most for the first time since, Baker Mayfield's rookie year or something like that. So they're chucking it deep, and Flacco's very first game in over a year. So yeah, that's on Stefanski. Everyone wants to give him crap for not running the ball more last week against Denver. And yeah, maybe you could do that, but game scripts that we were down 14-0. I think for the 3rd straight road game, we were down 14-0 against Baltimore. We were down 14-0 against Seattle, and then we find ourselves down 14-0 against Denver last week. So we had to throw the ball a little bit more to catch up. But this week, I didn't think we had to, but he fell in love with Joe Flacco. And he people want to throw bouquets at him, and he did look good for a guy who hasn't played, a 39-year-old guy who hasn't played in over a year, but he completed 52% of his passes. So what are we doing here if that's the case?
Okay, Brian. Okay. This is where I'm going to play devil's advocate. We're going to go through a couple of the comments here. Casey said Puka's a dude. Whole league slept on him. I kept my receipts.
He's good.
And Anthony Walker came back, but he's still not healthy.
Good one, Chris.
Flacco's at the practice squad right now because they're able to move him around and keep the cap from hitting. Because if they call him up, it was the same thing with PJ Walker before they called him up too. They've come over adversity all season long. This might be a tipping point. It could be. Casey. Still come down to the stretch. Justin said 4-1. Veteran quarterback with Flacco starting, which I was so glad to see a veteran quarterback in there, Bri. That was one of my big things took away. And Casey said 4 out of 7 current AFC playoff teams are playing with a backup.
Right.
So
yeah, you go crazy. Through. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You go through the West. I think has 3 of the 4 starting quarterbacks still intact. The South, 1 of 4 maybe. Mm-hmm. The North, 1 of 4. And the East, they benched Mac Jones, and Aaron Rodgers is hurt, so they got 2 of 4 in the East. So it's just, for everyone who wants to bitch and complain every time there's a roughing the passer call, this is what you get. Yeah. If all your quarterbacks are injured, it's not a very entertaining game. We're about to watch a 39-year-old Joe Flacco who was on the streets 2 weeks ago against the guy C.J. Beathard, who's a career backup this week. So that's not fun to watch.
Well, the great thing, and I'm playing devil's advocate now because I'm going to get my 2 cents about Joe Flacco, Brian. Joe Flacco came in, first off, looked better than Deshaun Watson came back, and he was a stay-at-home dad 2 days beforehand. First off, that concerns me that he can come in and play. You said 52%. How many of those balls were thrown away or dropped? Because he's a veteran quarterback.
Okay. I think there are 4 drops, 3 or 4 drops, maybe.
So 4 drops and probably, let's just say 5 throwaways out of bounds because he knows better, right?
Sure.
Okay. Then you add in what you call the arm punt. Now, Bri, if you look back at that play, Elijah Moore burnt the corner and the safety. If Flacco would have just gave him a chance to run underneath the ball instead of underthrowing it, that was a touchdown.
Yeah, but how many times do we say Marquise Goodwin would have had a touchdown?
No. I get that, Bri, but it was open. It wasn't. He underthrew it. He copped up to it, but most of the time, they're looking at this team. What do we normally do on first down, Bri? We always run the ball. We've always run the ball on first down. Why not try to play action pass?
But you're down 1 point with 6 minutes on the clock. Time and situation. All you need is a field goal. If you can run 6 minutes off the clock and kick a field goal, it's just like the Baltimore game there.
Yeah.
We walk it off with a 40-yard field goal, and that's kind of where and to also consider this is a guy. Yes, I know we're excited at his arm talent. He hasn't played in over a year, so he's not going to be Joe Flacco from Super Bowl era Baltimore Ravens. And I feel like either he thought that he could be that player or Kevin Stefanski thought that he could be that player. We needed to treat him maybe more along the lines of a DTR with a couple extra, throws deep because he does have that arm talent. But yeah, we can't be expecting. We put up 19 points. So everyone that wants to say how great he is, we put up 19 points. That's kind of in line with what PJ Walker and DTR are doing.
Justin's right. He still did look better than Deshaun Watson in his first game. Not gonna lie, he did. I know, Brian.
Consider the source. I'm sure you and I, to him, would look better than Deshaun Watson.
That is true. And I do have an arm like Uncle Rico.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I can throw a bunch of screens. I'm telling you. I can chuck up at a 40-yard arm punt.
Oh, I could do that all day. It's not hard for me to do that. All right, Bri. Man, it just sucks losing these two on the way.
Yep.
Especially now that Denver's getting back in. We got to look ahead to the Jags, Bri. Is there anything else you want to hit on with the past two games that kind of got underneath your skin?
No, I think. I mean, I don't want to crap all over Joe Flacco. I think he played a good game, all things considered. Again, you know, but we're expecting. Some people think he's Joe Flacco from 2014, and he's not. He's a guy who hasn't played in a year, who is on the streets, who's 39 years old, who still has an amazing arm for 39 years old, and still has great pocket presence. So I think the Browns did the right thing bringing him in, because I think you owe it to this team to give them the best chance to succeed, and to just throw in a 5th-round rookie. I think there are a lot of guys in that locker room that are like, really? We're in the playoff picture, and you're giving us this unproven, untested guy who really doesn't know what he's doing yet. So I give kudos to Andrew Berry after knocking him down a couple times in the show. I give kudos to him and to Kevin Stefanski for making this move and knowing that the team would respect a guy like Flacco, who's been there, done that, even if he's still doesn't have his fastball like he used to.
Well, and it just makes you think that what if they had, I'm not saying Flacco at the beginning of the year, but a true veteran like Flacco as the backup start out this season could help his team along too. I don't know what they were thinking, but we're here now, and this is what we're moving forward with. Stefanski still hasn't come out and said Flacco is going to start, but you got to start Flacco the rest of the year, right? Like, he gives you the best opportunity to get into the playoffs.
I think so, because he's more of a sure thing than DTR is. I think, like I said, DTR in the Denver game was showing promise and was showing that he's making progress, but I don't think you can count on him continuing to make that progress because he is still so young. So I think you owe it to the veterans of the team to go with a veteran quarterback until he shows you that, he can't really do it.
I get that. You want to get into your players of the week this week, Bri?
I'll let you go first. Let me step out real quick, and then I'll be right back.
All right. So this week, my offensive player of the week, as Bri took his earbuds out and got me all sorts of excited. This week, my offensive player of the week would have to be, I know he only dropped a few things of that nature, but it was nice to see some big plays from Elijah Moore. Had 4 receptions for 83 yards, 20-yard average. And honorable mention, Jerome Ford. I wish they would have ran him more, but he did catch the 1 touchdown pass and, fell into the end zone. So I was so proud of him. Defensive-wise, I mean, the defense got burned. The one that stood out to me the most was Mike Ford getting burned, but you do have to say that having Grant Delpit and MJ Emerson kind of came back and helped out a little bit. But, I will go with Grant Delpit for my defensive player of the game. It's so hard. I mean, JOK was running around everywhere. It's just so hard when they lose like this and you're trying to pick all these people. But those are mine. Bri will be back here in a second to get his. I'm pretty sure I know where Bri went to. Bri went to hit to head, and Justin, I can pull this up now because Bri's not here. I get that, and it's just weird. It's a weird situation for the Cleveland Browns right now with what's going on and everything that's happening, and you just got to ride the wave for what it is. Bri's coming back into the picture now. Earbuds are back in. Big fella, you good to go?
Yeah.
All right, so I gave my offensive player of the game was Elijah Moore. Honorable mention was Jerome Ford. My defensive player of the game was Grant Delpit. Defense really didn't do well, so I kind of just threw a hat at somebody. It was either going to be between him and JOK. JOK made a couple good plays too. What about you, bud?
Well, for sake of time, I'm going to co-sign what you said. I thought all those guys played well.
All right, well, let's move on. We got to look at the Jags, Bri. Breaking news that we had earlier was Jags Trevor Lawrence, high ankle sprain. They don't know if he's going to start. Bri, I'm guessing he's not going to start. It's still kind of up in the air. They're not going to, tip their hat to the Browns beforehand, but they are coming here to Cleveland. We are going to get some hope from being off of the West Coast. So we'll see what happens. But I kind of like this game now with Trevor Lawrence out. You still got everybody else, but you got their top wide receiver, Kirk, out, and then Trevor Lawrence out. It makes it a little bit easier for this game. Brian, what are your 3 keys to this game for a Browns win?
I think the defense just has to get back to playing how they've played at home. And if they can do that, just that one thing, if the defense can get back to, and it's a big ask with Myles Garrett. And honestly, Jim Schwartz, million times smarter than I am, but I don't know why you wouldn't move Myles Garrett to the other side, because it's his left shoulder that he's dealing with. And, when he's rushing, the first thing that left tackle hits is his left shoulder. So why not move him to the right side to where, when he's trying to burn guys around the outside, the first thing they hit is that right shoulder, his good shoulder. So I don't know why they don't make that adjustment. They've talked about moving Myles Garrett all over the line before. Maybe that won't make a difference at all. Maybe he's just more comfortable on the right side. But so getting the defense back into rhythm and being at home, certainly they're a different defense. And then slowing down.
Make it long. I'll be back.
Yep, I got you. So slowing down the Jaguars' offensive weapons, because this team, even though they're going to be without their quarterback, and that's certainly a big blow to them if he's not there. This team has a bunch of weapons on offense. They got, even with Kirk out, they still got Ridley, they got Ingram, they got Etienne. They even had a couple guys that I didn't even know their names who stepped up and made plays last night against the Bengals. So you still have to slow those guys down. They're probably just going to throw quick outs, get those guys in space and try to help them make some plays. So you got to slow those playmaking wide receivers and running backs down, and just do something to get them off the field, because third down is going to be key in this game. And so the third key for me would be, we saw last night, if you watched the game, not Beathard, but who's the backup for the Bengals is the kid Browning from Washington. He absolutely torched the Jaguars defense. He looked like freaking Joe Burrow out there. So go back and watch that game. He was unbelievable, and he's not a world burner or anything like that. So you can have success against this Jaguars defense, even though their linebackers are pretty good and they got a good edge rusher. And Josh Allen, you got to take advantage of them, this defense in the air. So that goes back to Flacco. That goes back to taking what the defense is giving you and, just exploiting them where you can and just being smart and not turn the ball over, because I'm telling you, they got absolutely torched last night. So there are going to be those opportunities there for the passing game. You just have to take them. You're going to need wide receivers to step up, because we might be without Amari Cooper again, and he's a huge part of your offense. So, I think Tony Grossi mentioned today that give Watkins a try. Give some of these other guys a try. We know what David Bell is going to be. He doesn't have a ton of skill, so give some of these other guys an opportunity to make some plays. Harrison Bryant stepped up this week. He was another guy maybe I would have considered for the offensive player of the week. He had a better game than Njoku did. So get some of these other guys involved. I think Flacco spread it around pretty good. I think he completed like 9 separate receivers this week. That's just, you just have to let this passing game evolve, and it's a passing league, and you can have success against this team. Now, I don't know about the weather. I think they're calling for rain on Sunday from what I saw today. So who knows how that'll affect it. But as long as we got those 3 big guys in the middle and Dwan Jones and even I'll give our guy Christian some credit for how he's been playing. I feel like we haven't lost much of a beat with Jed Wills being out, so that offensive line's playing pretty well.
Yeah, it's been actually really good, and especially with him just stepping in, not a lot of people knowing him and doing what he did there on the left side. Haven't heard a lot from him, so that's a bonus. I didn't hear the first parts of yours, so I'll just go ahead with mine. Gotta get back to that running game, Bri. First and foremost, you got to get Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford running. You got to be able to run the ball. You can't do it like they did this last time. Bri, they only ran it, 14 plus 9, 20, 25, that between 3 running backs 25 times. That's it. You can't do that anymore. You got to get Jerome Ford more into it. You got to get Kareem Hunt into it, and you got to let him kind of do the 1-2 punch. Secondly, good God, this defense. If it is the backup quarterback coming in, you got to just stop the run. Let this guy try to beat you with his arm. Here, Chris said, he goes, hell, Browning had a good night last night, which he did. Anybody can have anybody can have a good night. And I get that. It's just, you got to stop their run game. You stop their run game, let that guy beat you with his arm and see what happens. When the dust settles. And then finally, we haven't really talked much about it, but you got to play the field management game. Bojorquez and Hopkins have got to step up huge this game. Pin them back inside the 20 with the punts. Make your kicks when you get them. Now, Hopkins has been great with that. He did miss the extra point. I'm not going to crucify him for missing an extra point because he's been clutch for us 2 games before that. So you can't really say anything about that, because as soon as he missed the extra point, I sat there and just looked at it and I'm like, oh shit, we already did this with Baltimore. We'll do it again. It's no big deal. So special teams is going to play a huge game in this, and we got to do something really good. Justice said, happy Hanukkah on Thursday. Here we go. It's holiday season, Brian. With that transition, well, we'll get into that. What's your score for the game this week? It's going to be rainy. It's going to be windy. It's going to be Cleveland.
I'm going Browns. I think if we're going against Bethard, like I said, this defense is a different defense at home. Give me Browns 23, Jacksonville 13.
All right. That's actually a pretty good score. I'm going to come close to that, Bri. I'm going to go Browns 21, and I'm going to go Jacksonville 13.
21-13. Cool. 23-21. Gotcha.
So there we are with that. Let's get in. Hey, we haven't done it, and I don't know how long, Bri, and it's time to talk some food.
No, it's not. You're not. I'm not letting you get away from this Ohio State-Michigan game. I know you fake had COVID last week, so you didn't have to talk about it, and now you're trying to push it later and later in the show. Nope. Talking college football.
Wow. Hold on.
And now it's time for...
What do you mean pushing it back? Hold on.
I can't do a show this week because Michigan won, so we'll do it next week, or old Barry a show on Friday. Nope.
Oh, nice.
We're bringing it to light. It's been 1 hour, and I've kept my mouth shut.
Just like Michigan dodging Ohio State the one COVID year, huh? All right. Now we got that going. Let's go.
You can make those jokes. They don't hurt me. I've won 3 in a row. I'm in the college football playoff for the 3rd straight year. I don't have my quarterback transferring and everybody wanting to blame the scapegoat of a coach and fire Ryan Day, fire this guy, get rid of everybody. Nobody's good enough. No, I'm just sitting back. I'm enjoying it all. This is great for me.
Now, hold on. Just a question. Now that you're saying, firing Ryan Day and firing all this stuff and blah, blah, blah.
I say keep Ryan Day.
Well, I know. Because
I'm saying you guys are fire Ryan Day.
I understand.
11-1. That's a damn good record.
But weren't you guys saying that about Harbaugh for a little bit? I'm pretty sure you said it about Harbaugh too on this show.
In the COVID year when he went like 1-5 or something. Yeah, I said get rid of him. But I was wrong. He is rebound. Look at where he was, where the program was then, 1-5, an embarrassment of a season. And since then, he's completely done a 180. And
hold on. You can't
what's
even
the
say
record
it's
the
him.
last 3?
He coached 2 games this year. You can't even say it's him.
That just goes to show you how good this team is. They didn't have their Super Bowl coach. They didn't have their college football playoff coach, and they still won.
Must be
So,
all this.
and
Must
I
be
don't
that
know.
Connor Stallions right there,
Right.
just stealing everything.
And that's fine, because you don't have that excuse for this year. If you want to blame it on the last 2 years, whatever, you can. But this was the year, and I didn't say the last 2 years because I wasn't certain. This year I was certain. Michigan had the better team, and Michigan had the better quarterback. So I'm a little surprised. I think if Harbaugh was there, it would have been maybe more of a blowout, but I'm a little surprised it was as close as it was. But Michigan's like the Browns. They get the lead, and you call it affectionately trestle ball. You get the lead, and you just go ultra conservative until the other team takes the lead, and then you have to play catch up. So that's what they did. Michigan had the lead the whole time. They were just conservative. You watch these last 3 games against Penn State. They got the lead. They ran the ball 25 straight times. And so that's Big Ten football, and Michigan's doing Big Ten football better than Ohio State right now. Ohio State's trying to be Maserati Marv and Garrett Wilson, Rookie of the Year, and Chris Olave, and all this flash and everything. And Michigan's just like, all right, we'll just run it down your throats. And Ohio State would rather be the flashy, fun team than, what did I hear a stat? The team that has rushed for more yards for the last 20, maybe 22 straight games has won this game. So that tells you what you need to know right there. You need the big uglies up front, and you need to run the ball, and the team that can do that better is going to win. Maserati Marv, Heisman Trophy finalist Marv. That's total BS, by the way, because the LSU receiver, look at the numbers. The LSU receiver is a step above Maserati Marv, and he gets no credit for it. And Maserati Marv is probably closer to the number 2 wide receiver for LSU than he is the number 1 guy. But that's maybe a discussion for next week. So everything's turned up green for me. I got no problems. But nobody wants to hear about Michigan. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they want to hear me gloat so they can come after me. What do you think about Ohio State? That's what people want, because I feel like I know how they can fix it, but they're not willing to do what it takes.
Ryan Day's just got to grow some balls. That's all there is to it. I don't know what's going on with any other team. Like, this year is weird for Ohio State, Bri, and especially with McCord now hitting the transfer portal. Like, I kind of saw that coming, because you know how Ohio State fans are. You lose to Michigan,
how
and
many
you don't
death
care about
threats
the
did
game.
he get?
Oh, I'm sure.
How many?
I'm sure
probably,
multiple thousands of death threats.
And witness protection program after he lost to Michigan.
It's just I don't know. How can I explain it? It's weird. It's a weird scenario because Ryan Day takes over for Urban, right? Takes over Urban Skies. He's bringing in recruits. I'm not saying he's not, because we're getting the technically the cream of the crop here. But it's just you're sitting there watching it, and it's like this year there was no real game where I just sat there and watched it. Like, I knew they were going to win, against Michigan State and all these other ones. But like, you're watching the game against like Maryland, and it's like you normally start pulling away from these guys. What the hell's going on? Why aren't you pulling away from anybody? And then you watch, and what really, to be honest, what upset me is we've been spoiled over the past couple of years with CJ Stroud, with Justin Fields, that you have Kyle McCord, who probably doesn't have the greatest arm talent, but I don't know how you're going to have 2 guys that are going to be drafted in the first round as wide receivers or Ohio State, and you cannot throw the ball at all. You can't do it. Like, they should be able to get first downs whenever the fuck they want, right? And they can't do it. Then you have Travion Henderson, 5-star running back, who past 2 games before Michigan lit the world on fire. Where was he at this game? He was nowhere. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's like when he comes to Michigan and plays the Michigan game, he's playing the game not to lose instead of playing the game to win. I've seen so many games of Ohio State and Michigan, and you and I have both, that if you get to the point where you're 4th and 2 and you got momentum going, Tressel would go for that. Tressel, of all people, who plays conservative. Urban Meyer would definitely go for that. Jim Harbaugh would go for that. Shit, I've seen Brady Hoke do it in a T-shirt in 20 degrees, putting up 2 fingers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what is going on. And then, here it is. McCord saying that he entered the portal because comments saying that nobody's job is secure, including the quarterback, which is true. It shouldn't be that way. You got to put the best people out there to play. It just sucks watching that game because like I told you beforehand, I watched that 4th and 2, Bri. They made 2 pass plays to Harrison. They were moving the ball great. They got down to 4th and 2, and I think it was on like the 41-yard line of Michigan. And what did he do? Punted. And I went like this. I'm like, game's over. You have momentum. It was right before halftime. If you went for the 4th and 2, got the first down, you keep going. You cannot.
No, they missed a field goal there.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still. You should throw some balls and play the game like it should be. Harbaugh would have gone for 4th and 2 whenever he wanted to. That's how this game is played. You're playing the game scared, and he played this game scared. The team was flat and scared. Michigan came out, and I give you kudos. Michigan punched us in the mouth, and they should have punched us in the mouth. One thing I do have to say, though, and I'm pretty sure that James brought it up here, and I want to ask your opinion on it, is James brought up that first touchdown where the guy caught it and bobbled it in the damn end zone, but they called it a touchdown. What did you think that was, Bri?
Yeah, no, he bobbled it. He bobbled it, and then he regained control. Once you have control in the end zone, once it's deemed as a catch, you have control in the end zone. The play's dead.
But he didn't have control in the end zone because it was bobbled and ripped away from him.
He bobbled. Then he regained control.
He did not.
He regained control.
He did not regain control, Bri.
So I mean, and you're an Ohio State fan, so you're going to say that. So I'm not surprised at that. But there were probably
JT Barrett didn't get the first down. This is where we're at now.
There were probably 4 or 5 calls in that game where they could have gone either way, and because they were so damn close, the referees just went with whatever was called on the field. Because you're looking for stuff to definitive evidence to overturn it, and they didn't have definitive evidence to overturn any of those calls. So Ohio State got a couple of those calls, that fumble at the end of the game where Ohio State recovered it and they said it was a catch and a fumble. I mean, no Ohio State fan wants to talk about that, but that was another bang bang play where
I know, Brian.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a catch, but we'll go with whatever's on the field.
Brian, so that's just getting fired up. And kudos to you guys. You guys won. You guys kicked our ass. You guys
they were the better team. I'm telling you, even though the last 2 years they had a bigger winning margin, this year they were the better team. And that's going to be hard for Ohio State fans to hear, but yeah, and they proved it because they had a backup coach who didn't know what he was doing and just played ultra conservative. And luckily, the best thing to happen to Michigan on that day was to get the lead and retain the lead. Because once they had the lead, they didn't have to go crazy. They had a couple of trick plays here and there, but they're not having J.J. McCarthy throw it all over the field 40 times or something like that. They could just stick with what they know. Even though they lost their best offensive lineman to a broken leg, they just plug the next guy in, and they keep plugging it down the field. And so, had Ohio State taken the lead, I think that would really gotten them uncomfortable because they would have had to throw the ball a little bit more and, maybe speed up their offense. But thankfully they didn't.
Bri, do you think McCarthy is a first-round pick?
Earlier in the year, I would have said, yeah, probably like back end of the first round. Right now, because they've gone so conservative over the last month with this Sherrone Moore, I don't know. I start to second guess that. I think maybe even if he comes back next year, and kind of builds on it. I think he could be, but right now I'd say first or second round pick. I can't tell you for certain that he's a bona fide first round pick.
All right, Brian. The college football playoff. If we're talking about it now, Michigan is playing
Sure.
Alabama, Washington is playing Texas, and FSU got hosed, and so did Georgia. How do you feel about the football playoffs and how they turned out? You guys are playing Alabama. What do you think? You got a chance against Alabama because they're playing pretty damn good right now, Brian.
They are. I'm not going to sit up here and say I absolutely think they're going to beat Alabama. Alabama's getting better. Milroe is getting better as a quarterback, and I think one of the things that I was going to bring up about Ohio State that Ohio State needs to do in order to try to beat Michigan is, one thing was stop focusing on all these gaudy wide receivers and trying to get them the ball a bunch. Is Ohio State needs a running back at quarterback again. One where they dominant with JT Barrett, who ran a bunch, Terrell Pryor, who ran a bunch, Justin Fields, who ran a bunch. CJ Stroud, as good as he is, he's a great pro prospect, but him throwing the ball around, he didn't beat Michigan. Kyle McCord staying in the pocket, he didn't beat Michigan. So you need these mobile quarterbacks, and so I think Milroe provides a big concern for Michigan's defense because he's a bigger guy. I looked up yesterday. I thought he's bigger, but he's 6'2", 220, and he's got wheels. So that would be my biggest concern playing against them. But, obviously any college football fan would have said they'd rather play Florida State over Alabama. And maybe in the years past, I'd be a little more bummed. But right now, honestly, from the beginning of the year, I had national championship hopes in mind, and I continue to have those. So if that's the case, to win it all, you're going to have to get through good teams. You're going to have to get through an Alabama and a Texas or a Washington. So I don't really care about the first round draw because you're going to have to beat the best of the best. But in years past, maybe I'd have been like, come on. Like last year, I didn't really think we had a chance at winning it all. And so when we drew TCU, I was like, all right, at least maybe hopefully we'll get to the national championship game. This year, it's like, bring them on. They're a talented team. Who knows who's going to win? Give Jim Harbaugh a month. Harbaugh versus Saban. I mean, who's not going to want to watch that?
This guy.
I understand. No, you and everybody in scarlet and gray. But yeah, I do feel like FSU, even taking my Michigan fandom out of it, I think FSU got hosed. How are you going to finish undefeated in a Power 5 conference, win every single game, even after losing your quarterback and not get in? That's just a terrible precedent to set that one-loss team can beat an undefeated team. And, obviously the SEC bias kind of goes into it. And I honestly, a lot of it, to me, I think goes back to last year's national championship game where TCU just got embarrassed and they did not want another episode like that to where people are tuning out at halftime because so that scared the crap out of them. But what I tell the committee is make up your damn mind. Is it either the best 4 teams or the most deserving 4 teams? Because they did neither. The most deserving would have been FSU. The best probably would have included Georgia, instead of maybe a Washington. So, they're kind of picking and choosing. And to me, I thought it was kind of easy for them. They had an out because, okay, you have these 3 undefeated Power 5 conference championship teams in FSU, Michigan, and Washington. Those 3 are in, no doubt. And then you have these other 3, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, who thankfully all played each other. Alabama beat Georgia. Georgia's out. Texas beat Alabama. Alabama's out. Texas is in. To me, it was easy. But
they're not going. You and I both know that the SEC, they're not going to do.
I know.
4-letter ESPN is not going to have a championship playoff game without an SEC member in it. You and I both know that.
Well, and an argument for that is how many championships has the SEC won in the last 15 years.
I'm not, hey,
So
I
like
get it, Brian.
60, 70%. So I'm just like you said, to play devil's advocate, that's what they're going to come back is, we've done this a bunch of times, and it seems like the SEC wins more times than they don't. So,
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
But yeah, my heart breaks for the FSU fans. Like, what more? You call us a Power 5 school, and we went undefeated and won every single game, even getting through adversity, and you're not going to reward us for that. What more can we possibly do? So that sucks.
Yeah. I am glad though that they put FSU up against Georgia. That was the one. I'm glad they put them together. I know what it's going to be because they're on a third quarterback.
Well,
and I get that because if they had their starting quarterback Travis in, FSU would have got in over Alabama. They had to have. But since their starting quarterback got hurt, they're on the third quarterback.
Right.
That's what happened.
And would they have still put Alabama in if Milroe got hurt and wasn't going to play for a month? No, I feel like they still would have done that. So
Alabama.
Right. That sucks for them. And same thing with Texas. They had Arch Manning in there, and how many eyes is that going to draw? They would have put Texas in there.
Well, I mean, it's nice seeing Texas back in there. It's nice seeing Washington. It's nice seeing the story of Michael Penix. I mean, we watched him at Indiana for how long, and he was a great quarterback at Indiana and transferring over to Washington and doing everything over there. I more power to him. What I'm super excited about this is, Bri, is now that the playoffs are going to expand. We're still going to have arguments about who's going to be at the end, but the teams that shouldn't be left out, 13-0, won't be left out. Like Liberty getting a New Year's Day game. How crazy is that, Liberty?
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy stuff. But once this expands, it's easy enough to do. Take your 5 conference champions and piece in what's left. If you go out and you win your conference, you should be able to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully this won't be the last year, but it seems like me and probably a lot of other people get so pumped up for college bowl season, and you fill out your your pools and stuff like that. But it's almost like NFL preseason, really, to these guys, because you think Georgia's going to give it 110% to try to beat Florida State?
There's going to be
McCord's not playing. Marvin Harrison's probably not going to play. So it's like,
Travion Henderson's not going to play. And
right. You're just kind of you're going through the motions at that point. If Ohio State loses to Missouri, Missouri, who's maybe a smaller kind of SEC school, they'll wear it with a badge of honor. But can you really say like they got Ohio State's best shot?
Honestly, Bri, you don't know now with NIL. They might be like, all right, we need you to play in this bowl game. We're going to pay you this much playing this bowl game.
I wish that would be awesome. But
I'm just saying that's where they're at now, though. I mean, with the NIL money, these people are the transfer. What I'm enjoying about college football right now, Bri, is there's more parity. You don't have the super powerhouses of Alabama, Georgia holding on to 4- and 5-star recruits all the way up into their junior year because they're not playing, being able to transfer out and go to another team and try to establish themselves as players. Because for the longest time, that's what it was. It was Texas, USC, Ohio State, Michigan was one of them too, hoarding all the upper echelon blue chippers at their school, and those blue chippers had to wait for the blue chippers in front of them. And then they keep moving. Now, if you're not going to play me, I don't want to be here. I'll go play somewhere else. And most of these kids are playing at different schools. They're going to Maryland. They're going to Iowa. They're going to Oregon State. It's not like they're going to big schools. They're going to schools that they can actually perform at and play and showcase their skills.
It's just, it's crazy. And we knew, like, once you open Pandora's box, it's just going to be the wild, wild west, is what everyone said. And it absolutely is. You got this quarterback for UCLA who committed to Michigan, committed to Michigan, decommitted, went to UCLA, now entering the transfer portal. and Michigan's like one of his last couple schools that he's considering going back after all this in 1 year. And you got this DJ Uiagalelei who played for Clemson and then transfer portal to Oregon State. Had a great year at Oregon State, back in the transfer portal. What school he's going to now? And it's just, it's like a 1 year contract for all these guys.
Didn't the coach at Oregon State take another job though?
That I don't know. I know
I
Oregon State they're left holding the bag. They don't have a conference. Oregon State and I think Washington State maybe are the Pac-2, so they don't have conferences. So I guess I understand that.
That'll be taken care of soon. Well, Brian,
just make it 2. Just make it the SEC and the Big Ten for already, and that way you can't give this BS argument about Florida State, and Florida State beat LSU and Clemson, and I don't know. I guess I'm not too butthurt about it because they're not my team, but I know if I was in that situation, my team won every single game, and you're telling me I can't get into the playoff. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, we've been through it before. I mean, Ohio State was almost there. Remember?
Well, they were there. The 1 year they were banned.
So,
they went 12-0, right?
Yep. Braxton Miller.
Was that it? Braxton Miller guy?
That was
2012, was it?
That was Urban's first year.
Oh, is that why they got banned? Because of Tressel?
Because of Tressel, and they had Luke Fickell in as the interim coach, and then Urban came in, and they went because Fickell had he went like 6-6 with them, and then Urban came in. They went 12-0 the very next year.
Mm-hmm. And didn't play. I don't think they played in a bowl game, did they? Were they bowl ineligible?
Yeah, they were ineligible the entire time. So
hopefully we're done with that. At NCAA.
There's just Chris.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the NCAA.
I know, Bri. You know something, Bri? I mean, we're an hour and a half in right now.
I know. Yeah. Well, I had to get that in there.
This is great. We had to talk a little college football because you and I are passionate both about college football, and we watch college football a lot. We got to. And the great thing is about our show is Fat Boy Tuesday can move on until next week, and so can our top 3 with the holiday movies. It's no big deal.
It'll still be the holidays, right?
It'll still be the holidays next week. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our trivia. We're going to end the show tonight. And the trivia was what? Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice has 14 1,000-yard seasons, and second place only has 10, but one active player equaled 10, so they're now in second place. Who's that active player?
Is it Cooper Kupp?
Not Cooper Kupp. No, good guess. He hasn't done it long enough. He's probably got a few, though.
Can you give me a conference?
NFC. This is tough. I'm telling you, I don't think I could have got this.
Hold on. Is it Mike Evans?
Mike Evans it is. Yep. First 10 consecutive, which is surprising. Yeah, because I don't know who else I would have thought. DeAndre Hopkins came to mind, but yeah, Mike Evans, which I don't know. It probably is just
I was thinking
how
older wide receivers. So I was thinking like Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley,
AFC, yeah.
Brown, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs. I was thinking like older wide receivers like that nature. And what really got me though was sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, NFC, and I started thinking like the old receivers in NFC. I'm like, hold on, Mike Evans played with Johnny Manziel. Let me just throw that out. It was either going to be him or Michael Thomas, but I know Michael Thomas missed some years because he was injured.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it was just a surprise to me. Yeah, that he's been in the league for 10 years and stayed remarkably healthy to do that for your first 10 years. But yeah. Playing with Tom Brady, Jameis Winston. I mean, people bag on him, but he had a 5,000-yard season. He
had a couple 4,000 yards too, didn't he?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
He just threw too many interceptions.
30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
That's how you do it, buddy.
Wild stat. Yep.
That Brett Favre right there. All right, everybody, guys, thank you guys so much for watching our show. We want to thank our troops and first responders for everything you guys do. We do have, and I'm being dead serious, I need everybody here to tune in next Tuesday. Brian and I have got a huge announcement about the show. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. It's big things for both me and Bri, and I can't wait to announce it next week. So please tune in next week. Bri, we're here at the end of the show. Thank everybody. Kheel, City Dogs Cleveland. God bless the baby that's getting ready to come out, Bri. And
Sure.
God bless everybody, Bri. Let's do it.
God bless you, and God bless America. God bless your family. Happy holidays. All of it.
All right. I am that fat guy. We're definitely uncorked and loaded. And we'll see you guys next week here on Illegal Ham to the Face. See you.